Dude, ryobi is like that genius kid who has so much potential but doesn't try, and no amount of effort is put into. You're just like, what are you doing, kid? Like, you could do so good if you would just try. It's like, no, I'm good enough. Everyone else is stupid. I mean, they do shit right, okay? I'm gonna give them some props right now. For one, this is the p3100. Nobody calls it that, but there's a fucking model number that comes with this device, and if you look it up, that's what it's gonna be. And so far for me, they do part numbers right. They do model numbers right. I haven't had any problems tracking down very specific things about ryobi. The second thing I'm going to give ryobi is the single time I've had to call them was for some big polisher that I bought for, polishing my knob, and it didn't come with the whatever with the scrubby pieces, the looped cotton shit on the polisher. They didn't fit. And I could have cut down the foam. I could have made it fit, but they didn't fit. And ryobi sent me new ones. And their support was easy to deal with. But this thing, right off the bat, can you tell me what's wrong with it? Okay, now can you tell me? the thing is the size of a fucking ship. And they put the holder in the very front, like right in the way of like getting to the damn. Oh, it's infuriating. I've been sitting here trying to figure out why I hate this thing. It's because I'm constantly like having to, and it's huge. Like, why wouldn't you mount this back here like a normal person? Like every other soldering station ever made. Ever, and there's even like the possibility, and this is goofy too, but you put this big ass battery in here, maybe, yeah, and I can actually get this up out of my way. And again, if it were down here, it would be out of my way. It would be taking up a boat's worth of desk space. So that's quite goofy. This cord internally is secured in strain relief so hard that you could probably swing this thing around your head with the battery and like a lasso, and it's not going to come undone. But that also means you can't detach this, which I guess maybe is good. You don't want to lose it, but I mean, this thing is built. It's nice, okay? It is nice, but for soldering, it's a mile away from where you want to be, and it's big and it's heavy, and it's not low quality. It's just kind of ridiculous. Was my point. Okay, so there's that, and then this bright ass LED. It is so bright. It is so goddamn bright, and it tells you absolutely nothing. It will tell you when it hits the temperature, which, I'll accept this. I guess this goes from 200 to 400 and change in terms of temperature, and it seems to warm up okay. So now we're warmed up. Well, like, aside from it going green, it tells me nothing. This other hieroglyphic says that when it's cooling down, it blinks. Well, no, it doesn't. It just stays fucking green. So you go from doing some heavy, heavy gauge shit, or some big ground plane, and then so the thing heats up. Well, now if you go lower and you just want to make sure that your iron is back down to reasonable non-vaporizing temperatures, you have no fucking clue. It's never, I mean, what do? You just sit here and wait, and then it never ever says, hey man, I'm heating, like I'm doing my job. And you know it is heating, but it doesn't tell you that. There's no feedback whatsoever out of this LED. It's too fucking bright, and life is just green. So I mean that I spent more time trying to figure out what this iron was doing because I just wasn't convinced that it was at the temperature that I wanted it to be at. Whatever. So that aside, this thing, it's built like a tank, a giant goofy tank. It does work. It does work. I don't like the tip. These are not Weller tips. I don't know if they're more like a Hacko tip. We can quickly review some of the video because I'm not doing this whole thing. Yeah, here's some video. Let's see what we got going on here. Yeah, so there's the tip. You do get some accessories. You get two tips, a giant wedge and a something else, and then a conical, I guess. Here I found some old Weller tips that I've never used, and I was trying to compare them. There you go. So the Wellers are a little more different-y, and they don't fit. But when I was looking online, it looked like maybe some of the Hacko tips might fit. There's a close-up of the ceramic heater. And there's a close-up of the tip. The tip, you know, it seemed fine. Whatever. It's not my style of tip that I like, but and I would like to get more. I looked, and it doesn't look like Ryobi sells other tips, so maybe it's a Hacko. Yeah, that's the other tip that it comes with, and the little sponge that it comes with. I was using one of my sponges that I had a bunch lying around because I wasn't sure if I was going to keep this thing. I'm still not sure. I'd like to know what others think. Yeah, the cable is kind of feels like 1/4-inch silicone, except it's not silicone. It's not supple. And in fact, it just doesn't relax at all. So that's kind of a bummer. It is really strong though. It does burn easily. There's the back of the dude, and interestingly, so I pulled this thing apart. It's rated at 45 watts, but that's kind of lies. Internally, the hybrid system is actually, oh, and that's like a data port. Man, I didn't see what was on there, but this is a data port, not a fuse. So for all you soldering iron fuse aficionados, that little tang on the top there, this is this for your strap, and that's, you tie your strap to that, and that is common with the tip for ESD soldering, which makes me a little freaked out. You go probe 110 with that tip, and it'll find you. Yeah, there's the data port, VCC ground, transmit clock. I'm not sure what protocol it is, you know. I didn't go snooping on that thing. In fact, I lost interest as soon as I opened this thing up. Right here is when I lost interest. I was like, man, you guys, your hybrid system I'm probably laughing. No, I made it system. Complete with switched power supply. Yeah, so anyway, it's in all fairness, I don't think I could do any better. I that's probably what I would have done. Um, you've got this small board. You really only need a big MOSFET to release the batteries, right? Um, so really, all that's on this board, from what I can tell, are some big hefty diodes, which are preventing the battery from being charged by the 18 volts, on the hybrid system. And then, which I find odd, right? Because I don't know how you'd connect the two, but I'm assuming that's what this big ass diodes are doing. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Um, huh. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know. Uh, yeah, and then giant MOSFET, another diode, and I guess some software. I guess that 79 blah chip there must be the brains of the operation. And I think I tried to get better shots of the board for all you guys that are bored. Can't tell if that's scratched off at the factory or not. I don't think it is. Big ass diodes. I can only assume that's in case the battery ever gets hooked up. You've got this other entry point for the the what I'm trying to say. Anyway, there's a good look at the board. Derpy derp. And derpy derp. They've glued down that little pot right there. It looks like. I think that's a pot. Maybe that's a adjustable cap. And the red lead here is the I believe this is the tip and this is the lead to the outside. The thing was just filthy. The board itself was filthy. It left shit all over my hands. Some of these connections were a little dry, but whatever. It looked like it was gonna last. So yeah, just I mean, you can start to imagine how a TS100 is possible, right? I mean, the board is this big. The rest of it's just battery. And if you get rid of all the, I mean, whatever. But I have a hunch that you actually get more power off of the. I certainly saw a higher power rating. There's my filthy hands. Higher power rating off the battery than off of the AC. And here you can see how the cable just relaxes wonderfully. Yeah. And replacing that thing, of course, would require soldering. So how are you going to solder it if you need to replace? I mean, it would have been nice to put a connector there, is what I'm saying. That switch has no resistance whatsoever. The lights provide no feedback whatsoever about what's actually happening. And let's see. Yep. Just talking about general goofiness. What are the lights doing? What are the lights doing? Trying out some actual soldering. It did okay. I was goofy just because it's different, and I've been using the same damn iron. But this is me trying to make the lights do something, and they just don't. It's actually powered off right now, blinking, cooling. Really annoyed by the lights. Like, why wouldn't you tell me you're heating up or cooling down, like the hieroglyphs say? There's this energy saving mode, which it will go into. You can see the hieroglyph there is a sine wave all out of focus, and after 10 minutes the light starts to pulse, and you can just wiggle the knob and it'll come back to life. After 20 minutes it will cut off completely, so that's cool. And it did have plenty of oomph to do some, you know, what are those, like 8 gauge, 10 gauge, probably 12 gauge, decent copper high strand wire and a shitty connector. So whatever, it could do those fine. I didn't do that great, but, and I had my goofy sponge the whole time. I'm still trying to figure out the lights here. So this is like me still just wondering, what are you doing? And are you doing your job? Yeah, so there's a comparison between a non 200-pound Gorilla soldering iron and Ryobi's version of a soldering iron. And that is the tip that I like. And that tip has been on there for 15 years. I guess I don't solder a lot, but when I do, I like to have that tip. Blah, blah, blah tip. I still don't think I'd realized how goofy I was fighting that stupid handle, and I don't think I realized how goofy it was until I woke up this morning. I was like, why did they build this thing like a boat? Like, seriously, like, why did they build this thing like a boat? Like, why wouldn't you put this back here? See how much better that looks? Why wouldn't you give feedback on the LEDs? Like, this could have been a home run. I would have been not questioning keeping this thing. Anyway, I bought this. I was returning something. I was returning a Ryobi vacuum cleaner that also pissed me off. And I saw this thing and I bought it. I didn't know it existed. Excuse me for bumping the mic. Yeah, man. I just thought, oh my God, that actually could be useful. I could actually drag that out to the car. And honestly, in a way, I do think it would be more convenient for me than like a little TS100, a little teeny tiny pocket. You know, I'm not looking for portability. I'm looking for, you know, doing shit under a hood, under a car hood or whatever. And just being able to throw a piece of equipment under the hood seems pretty nice to me. And not have to worry about where I'm going to set it down and stuff like that. But this thing is kind of goofy. It's kind of goofy, but the power, I hooked it up backwards the first time and I was trying to figure out what the hell. It draws more than 3 amps from the battery pack. And in fact, I end up current limiting, so the voltage drops, and you can see it here. The voltage drops, and so the thing cuts out. And so it didn't really work just off of my supply because I didn't have enough amps. And as soon as it current limited, the voltage would drop. So I think I'm assuming that interior, the thingy. There you go. So here we're pulling. This is paralleled up, so we're pulling 5 amps at 19 volts. So that's much closer to 100 watts, which is plenty of power. And you can. I don't know what I'm doing with the knobs here, but well, we could listen. Actually, I think okay. So we're warmed up at the very lowest setting. I'm gonna crank the dial to 9 o'clock. So it's like 4 amps. That's done. All right. So now let's hit it with some water. There we go. So we are pulsing up. Okay. I'm not doing anything. All right, putting it in the water again. Occasionally it's ripping 4 amps there. Okay, so I mean it's doing a lot more behind the scenes. So I'm gonna go from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Okay, it really does look like it ramped up. Now I'm gonna go from 10 o'clock to 7 o'clock. Okay, it's just this fucking light that doesn't tell you anything. That's the moral. But it doesn't correlate to what temperature it's actually maintaining, which is kind of annoying, but whatever. It's actually super annoying, but whatever. So anyway, it's maintaining temperature. It's got tons of overhead. I didn't measure temperature overshoot and crap like that. I don't have a convenient way of doing that. Let's see if there's anything else of value in this video here. I soldered up some pretty, that's not on a ground plane, but it's those are pretty beefy little LEDs on aluminum. So I also burned my desk. You can see I burned my desk through that piece of steel. I was trying to solder on steel. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it worked. It produced a solder joint, and I just don't know. I don't know. I just can't decide if it's super goofy, man. I'm not gonna sit here and do a bunch of soldering on YouTube, but it's fine. Maybe if I get a hacko tip. I'm a little bit upset with Ryobi for not talking to me before they release this thing. Is there anything else of value? Yeah, there's the tip that it came with. Meh. Meh. Yeah, there's the internals. There's my crusty old ancient tip. Mm-hmm. Crusty as. Yeah, so I mean that's pretty much it. I have very mixed feelings about this thing. And all the fooling around. I don't know if this battery was charged, but it's got plenty of time. I mean, sitting here doing nothing, it's fine. I don't think I'm worried about running out of battery. I don't think I'm worried about managing its power. I do think I would use this on battery whenever I used it, mainly because the reason I would keep this is for the convenience, not because I think it's necessarily a great iron. I can see the convenience of this, but they could have been a contender. They could have been a contender, and they weren't. They built this boat, and I don't know if I could leave this. I mean, what am I gonna do? Like, how is this gonna? It's not gonna sit on my desk. That's for damn sure. I don't know. I keep not moving my soldering iron out here near my computer, and part of the reason is because I don't feel like plugging it in. I have so many things plugged in right now. Anyway, that's my review of the Ryobi p3100. You can go buy it for $79, and just don't get it as your first iron. Get a real iron. Get a real iron. And if you're a hobbyist, get, like if you fly quads and shit like that, get a TS100. Throw that in your bag. But if you're like me and you've already got an iron and it does everything you need it to do because maybe your skills just aren't that great, this is purely a convenience thing. This is something you can bring out, throw on the living room table if it's made of steel, like mine is just stainless steel, and you can work on your printers and your electrical shit in front of the TV, or that rare case where you need to like throw it in a vehicle for some reason for like car stereo work or shit like that. I think I would rather have this than drag my precious iron out anywhere. And especially it, it's in a couple pieces, right? You got the main thing, and then you got on mine, it has a separate thing for the thing, and then you got the this thing too, and then you got the cord. So like, how many hands do you want, right? Whereas like this stupid thing, at least it is self-contained. It is just sitting here, and maybe I can redo this thing. I can redo this thing so it's back here. Like maybe I can at least bend some steel or something so it's at least like right here. It might be a little goofy, but maybe I can just rest it right over this thing. Bend it up through here, and it could still be good and rigid, but like move back. Like what were they doing? They could have. That would have been cool. Make the lights tell you what the fuck's going on. Maybe put the thing up here and have a bigger tray area, or like a normal size tray, or you could put one of those fancy cleaners here. And then honestly, with a selection of tips, and maybe even if you swap this out for something else, but again, I don't know what voltage. I mean, I assume this one runs at 18 volts, but I don't know what voltage normal irons run at, and frankly, I don't want to know. I just kind of wish they had followed a standard, but this is goofy. I mean, come on. It's like as long as my arm. Anyway, I'm done. Oh, let me know if I should keep this thing.